Venus is the second planet from the Sun and the sixth largest. Together with Mercury, they are the only planets without a satellite. Even though Mercury is closer to the Sun, Venus is the hottest planet. Being very close to Earth, Venus was observed by ancient astronomers from different cultures many times. However, the first accurate observation was in 1610 by Galileo Galilei. Galileo saw Venus through a telescope, and determined it had phases similar to the Moon. This helped support the Copernican view that planets orbited the Sun and not vice versa as previously believed. Since Venus is the brightest object in the sky after the Moon, and the Sun, it was given the name of the Roman goddess of beauty and love. The ancient Greeks named it Aphrodite. In ancient times, Venus was taught as being two different objects in the sky, the morning star and the evening star. In Mercury's case, it was also mistakenly believed to be two different things. It is the only planet named after a female deity, and it is the brightest planet in the solar system. Though it can easily be seen, its surface is hidden by thick clouds, thus it was for a long time believed that it was similar to Earth. When its surface was observed, it was determined that in fact its clouds were made up of sulfuric acid and water vapor, but more importantly its temperature was measured, having an average of 465 degrees Celsius, 900 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt lead. More than about 62 degrees hotter than Mercury, the closest planet to the Sun. It was then concluded that Venus has the hottest surface out of all the planets, and the hopes that it resembled Earth were shattered. Its thick atmosphere traps heat in a runaway greenhouse effect, greatly contributing to the planet's high temperatures. However, despite this, it is still considered Earth's sister, and it has other similarities that support this. They have similar sizes and densities, with a similar internal structure and similar mass, volume and atmospheric components of carbon dioxide and nitrogen. Venus reflects 70% of all the sunlight it receives, which is why it shines so brightly. Venus has a radius of 6.051 kilometers or 3.760 miles and a diameter of 12.104 kilometers or 7.521 miles, slightly smaller than Earth. Venus has a mass of 4.87 times 1024 kilograms, or 85% that of Earth. The mentioned similarities also give way to similar densities, Venus having a density of 5.24 grams per cc, while Earth has 5.52. Venus is the second closest planet to the Sun, at a distance of 108.2 million kilometers, 67.24 miles or 0.7 astronomical units, receiving the Sun's light in 6 minutes. Its closest approach to Earth happens once every 584 days, when the planets catch up to one another. On average, it can get as close as 25 million miles or 40 million kilometers to Earth. It takes Venus 225 days to complete one trip around the Sun, or in other words, one Venusian year is 225 Earth days. One Venusian day or rotation is longer than one Venusian year. One Venusian day is about 243 Earth days. This is the slowest rotation of any planet, making it the most spherical object after the Sun. At the equator, the planet is rotating at about 6.5 kilometers in an hour, or 4 miles in an hour. It has the least eccentric orbit, orbiting nearly in a perfect circle. Because of its brightness, Venus has been the most confused object in the sky. Many have misreported it as an UFO, and many still mistakenly report it as an UFO. Venus has a retrograde rotation, moving in the opposite direction than most planets. Only Uranus also does this. They both move from east to west, clockwise. Venus has mountains, valleys, and tens of thousands of volcanoes. The highest mountain on Venus, Maxwell Montes, is 20,000 feet high, 8.8 kilometers, similar to the highest mountain on Earth, Mount Everest. Venus doesn't have any moons or ring systems, and its magnetosphere is weak due to its slow rotation. It is the most visited planet of the solar system with over 40 spacecrafts exp. It isn't possible to pinpoint the exact discovery date of Venus. Due to its brightness, it can be easily seen with the naked eye, meaning that any ancient civilization could be credited with the first observation. Copernicus, and later Galileo Galilei, are however credited with Venus's classification as a planet, while Mikhail Lomonosov has been credited with initially discovering the planet's gaseous atmosphere in 1761. This claim was later verified in 1790 by astronomer Johann Schröder. Life habitability. It is widely believed that Venus was once a habitable planet with vast oceans. Some even considered that life might have actually evolved there and later shifted somehow to Earth. Others believe that Venus possessed oceans, but due to the high concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, it is theorized that the planet was covered in a carbon dioxide fluid that eventually evaporated. Recently it has been discovered that Venus has a large vortex at both its poles. The altitude is estimated to be about 59 kilometers, which is just above the cloud deck, and the air pressure and temperature are tolerable for Earth standards. A few scientists have speculated that thermoacidophilic extremophile microorganisms might exist in the lower temperature, acidic upper layers of the Venusian atmosphere. In August 2019, astronomers reported that newly discovered long-term pattern of absorbance and albedo changes in the atmosphere of the planet Venus are caused by unknown absorbers, which may be chemicals or even large colonies of microorganisms high up in the atmosphere of Venus. It remains to be seen. Magnetosphere. Regardless of Venus's similar size to Earth, and its similarly sized iron core, the magnetic field is much weaker than that of Earth's due to slow rotation, and thus it is generally regarded as not having a magnetosphere. It does have, however, an induced magnetosphere formed by the Sun's magnetic field carried by solar wind. Because of the lack of intrinsic magnetic field on Venus, the solar wind penetrates relatively deep into the planetary exosphere and causes substantial atmosphere loss. The loss happens mainly via the magnetosphere's tail. The ratio of hydrogen to oxygen losses is around 2 or almost stoichiometric, indicating the ongoing loss of water. Satellites. Theories suggest that Venus might once have had a moon, which formed after a collision. After this, a second collision occurred that shattered the moon. It is believed that even this moon actually collided into Venus, thus its unusual rotation. Future plans for Venus. Venus, being so close to us, has seen over 40 spacecrafts landing upon her. Due to its proximity, it will always be a target for future studies and even possible colonization. Scientists have even discussed about floating cities in Venus. Missions are still ongoing there. Even recently, in November 2019, NASA received some designs of a Stingray-like ship that could better observe and analyze Venus by a team at the University at Buffalo.